What the fuck is up, y'all? My name is Jay the Prodigy, and today I'm going to be showing y'all around Echo Innovation's Resonance Chatbot. So, first things first, we're going to go to the Echo website. I just want to do a little quick demo for y'all, show y'all what I'm talking about, what we're going to be working towards, and what exactly you're in for. So, if I just said hello, you'll see it generates for a second, and now we've got a response. So you'll see it's here to help us with anything Echo Innovations related. Say, for example, I run a, what do you call the tax people? A tax specialist business. How is AI automation applicable to me? So this is a real chatbot. I'm sure y'all have run into the chatbots where it's like, it just gives you like a multiple choice, essentially option to be able to actually talk with it. That's not a chatbot if you ask me. So we're going to be building the real deal, as you can see. You can pause and read this if you want. I'm not going to. That's a lot. So that's what we're going to be working towards. And you can see, obviously, again, Echo website, we built all of this. So I did create a, let me separate this. I did create a Miro board just to give you all a visualization. Personally, whenever I'm learning a new concept, it really helps me to be able to visualize, even if I don't understand everything that's going on, but just to be able to see it so I have an idea in the overview of, okay, well, this is kind of what this is supposed to look like. So we start off here. As you can see, your PC, if you were to browse to echoinnovations.ai, which you're free to do, you can go try out Echo Resonance for yourself. But if you were to hit the website, obviously you would be coming from your computer. Then from your computer, you would be making a API request to my chatbot component, which is this little thing right here. I'll walk you all through the code for this here in a minute, but there's not really too much to note for this little section. You'll see here from the actual chatbot component on the same system, so localhost port 443 over HTTPS, which is secured HTTP traffic. If you don't know what any of that means, don't worry. I just wanted to put this in there for the people who are either learning or know what it is, to give you a little more context. And then you'll see here, I included essentially the context, or I mean, not the context, the contents of the API call being made from the chatbot component to my chat proxy API route, which, again, don't panic if that doesn't make any sense. So you'll see here, pretty much the reason it looks like this instead of just leaving message is because this is kind of to demonstrate what exactly it looks like in the API call itself. So whenever you're actually in the code, you will see a variable called message or user message. I can't remember exactly what I named it, but essentially this is what the variable would be called, and then this is on the other side of the colon, this is what the variable value would actually be. So forwards the API request to the chat proxy API route, which also runs on the Echo Innovations website. So this is the, this right here would be the API route that it's calling. Technically, in your case, it would be HTTPS echoinnovations.ai/API/chat proxy. But in this case, since it's running on the same system, it's just localhost. So we hit the chat proxy, and then you'll see this big box thing that I have going around all of the actual internal infrastructure. Now that's just kind of to demonstrate where we're going from public domain, so all of this would be publicly accessible, to as soon as we hit the chat proxy, now all of that traffic is running internally to Echo So no outside traffic can interact with any of this stuff directly. Now, I love how I did that in the middle of the video. You'll see here, we're running Echo 1. That's the name of the VPS, my primary VPS that everything is running on. And then you'll see here we have P16 Kratos, which is my AI rig that I have running here in my house. So we'll hit the chat proxy. Pretty much literally all this chat proxy does is, you'll see here, when we're coming from your PC, we're actually going over 443 HTTPS, which is secured traffic like I had said earlier. As soon as you hit chat proxy, the traffic is decrypted, and then the API request is forwarded via HTTP, not HTTPS. It's missing the S because it's not secure. If you didn't know, now you know. Passing over HTTP to our instance of anything LLM, which I am going to be also showing you here in a minute. There is a good amount of depth that goes into this. I did have to mess around with it for quite a while to get some results that I actually wanted out of the chatbot. But I'm going to be showing you all my little tips, tricks, and caveats and whatnot. So anything LLM also running on Echo 1. And then from anything LLM, we're making another API call to this address, 10.121.16.16. You can try and ping this if you want, but you can't, because these, like I had said, Echo 1 and Kratos are both connected over an internal network, technically a VPN, but you cannot access this address. So anything LLM hits that address, which is running on Kratos, which is running Olama serve. So you'll see, if we just real quick follow the logic flow, your PC chatbot component to the proxy, to anything LLM, to Olama. Now the LLM has the context of your user's message. So from here, the LLM will generate its response, forward it back to the chat proxy over, again, HTTP, and then from the chat proxy, it has a secured connection with your instance of echoinnovations.ai. So from a quick topological overview, point of view, whatever you want to call it, this is how Resonance functions. So I'm going to walk you all through the chatbot component real quick. All right, so here we are with the chatbot code. I did pass this into Claude and just have it clean it up and annotate it. So I'm not going to walk you through all of this. Really, the only thing you need to know is this function right here, send a message. This function right here, send message. So pretty much right here is where we define the actual API call itself, and you'll see here, like I had said in the body, here's the message variable, and input is actually what the user message was labeled as, user message was labeled as input on the mirror board, my bad. So anyways, this is just some error handling right here. In case there's any HTTP error, it'll throw out whatever the respective value is to help with troubleshooting. Here we've got our data variable, which is pretty important. This is where the response from the actual API will be stored as a variable. So you'll see here also console.logs, which you cannot see this as a user, but if you were to open your developer tools, even as a user, you should be able to see the API response being printed to your network logs, or the network tab in your Chrome Dev tools. So again, just more handling this time for whatever formatted response the bot has. So then here we have some of our logic to handle whether or not the message being inputted to the chat box, or chat bot technically, depending on if it's the user or if it's the bot, there is there's certain things that has to happen. So whenever the bot is, or whenever the AI is responding, it will respond in Markdown, which is why if you notice certain things are bolded, certain things are italic, whatever, all of that is done with Markdown. You'll see here, this is the function to parse the Markdown. And then here's all the actual code for the chatbot itself. So that's really pretty much all there is to see. Again, here's the API endpoint that it's hitting. This is just the, this is a variable for anything LLM, which again, we'll dive into. So without further ado, let's hop into the next portion, which is the chat proxy. So as you can see, this one's actually pretty simple. Like I said, literally all it does is take the request from the front end and forward it over to anything LLM over the VPN and an unsecured connection. So yeah, I mean, that's really, again, all there is to it. There's not much more to say beyond that, even if I wanted to get more technical. So we're going to kind of leave that at that. And that's all there is to see in terms of the code portion. So now let's hop back into the browser and into anything LLM. All right, y'all. So here we are with anything LLM. If I was to show you the URL, as you can see, this is a self-hosted instance, again, running on Echo 1. So this is pretty much what it looks like, more so this. But within my workspace, this is what it looks like. And you can see all the multiple failed attempts that I had at getting this to work. Like I said, it is kind of finicky. And the interesting thing, this is not relevant to the video really, but the interesting thing is Apple, Anthropic, OpenAI, nobody understands why the system prompt is so critical. Like, it drastically affects the performance of the model. So anyways, here we are. The main things to notate, obviously we do need to plug this in to some sort of LLM, whether that be ChatGPT, or in my case, Ollama, or Azure, or one of the many other options. Obviously, I'm using Ollama in my case. That's pretty much the go-to if you're going to host your own LLM, which personally I would recommend. But anyways, yeah, so I mean, all of this is pretty self-explanatory. You can select your models. I only have 2 models downloaded since I just reset my computer not too long ago. And then you obviously want to put your address in here. And then I've tried performance mode here. Dog water. Don't bother. At least at the time of this video being made, dog water. I wouldn't even waste your effort. So anyways, so that's the primary thing. So the second thing, I would click on this tab if it wouldn't expose my API key. I'm not trying to redeploy the website, but pretty much in here, it allows you to create an API key, give it certain permissions, yada yada, so on and so forth. Pretty standard API key stuff in there. So coming back here, in terms of the actual functionality of the Resonance chatbot, not the configuration. Well, I mean, I guess this is configuration, but more pertinent to the LLM, we have here the system prompt. So as I was saying, even the biggest players in the game don't really understand why the system prompt is so critical. I will say I did not write all of this. I went into Claude and I told it that I wanted to create an AI chatbot that acted a certain type of way, and it spat this out. Probably had to do a couple of revisions here and there, but we ended up getting to this end result. So this is essentially just telling it, do not make shit up about Echo. Don't answer pricing questions. Like, your goal is to assist the user in finding out whether Echo's technology is applicable to their field, what are some potential things we could build with it, all of that type of stuff. So this essentially defines the LLM scope of responsibility and behaviors. And that's really the only important thing here. I've never really messed with the temperature. There's not a need here. And then here we have our query response mode. So there's two different modes that you can put the workspace in. One is chat, which is it'll use general knowledge as well as context to answer a question, versus query will only answer if the information is found in the context. It doesn't necessarily, it will still use general information, but it's not quite as, I don't know, it seems to also help narrow the scope of the chatbot. So that's it for this tab. The only other thing really to touch on that's critical is this right here. So you'll see here, there was actually way more revisions than this. Come to find out, just as a pro tip for y'all, you have to remove all formatting from the document. No bullet points, no weird spacing, no dashes, no none of that. So as soon as I did that, everything started to work beautifully, and the chat that you had seen at the beginning was one of the, I don't know which one it is. Yeah, this is pretty much what the response would look like without the formatted context document, is what I call it. That's not a technical term. That's, like I said, just what I call it. But anyways, so when there was formatting on the actual PDF document, and I'll show you all a picture, a snippet, or whatever of the document itself. But yeah, you have to remove all the formatting, otherwise you'll get a response like this, even though all the information was in the document, and the LLM could obviously read the document if it knew that it was one of the service offerings. It just couldn't read the actual offerings and details of that service because of the way that the text was formatted. So if we were to come here, so basically what I did to get this is I scraped the Echo Innovations website, downloaded all of its content, or all of its text, that is, uploaded it to Claude, gave Claude a little more context that you wouldn't necessarily see on the front end, if that makes any sense. Let me see if I can find it, like an example. I feel like so things like this, these wouldn't necessarily just be blatantly stated on the front end. So just kind of giving it, again, more context as to the questions it's supposed to be answering. And so put that into Claude and told Claude, you know, here's what my business does. Here's what I want it to look like. Make an informative document that will be, I literally tell it, like, this document will be passed into an LLM, so optimize it for that. If we don't understand how LLMs work, then I figure the next best bet is to have LLMs understand how LLMs work. So, yeah, but you'll see it's about 6 pages. Got some FAQs, which are also not on the actual website itself. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the contents of that. So with that being said, that was the overview. I mean, there is Olama, but there's really not much to show there. I mean, it's literally just running Olama serve. And I have a video about that also, if you want to go check that out, getting Olama up and running, the fundamentals, finding the right model for your use case, all that. So with that being said, Now you know how the Echo Resonance chatbot works. Now you maybe have an idea of how to build one for yourself. Hopefully you got inspired, hopefully motivated, and I hope you'll have a good day.